Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host Mike Lepre, here with my co-host Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
Now on this episode of Screwball, we're going to continue with the 2020 season preview with some, what we're calling crazy predictions. Some predictions that we think we're stretching a little bit, some predictions that we think are actually pretty possible, centered mostly around trades and special moments that we think are going to happen this season, specifically no-hitters, cycles, 4 home runs, stuff like that. So we're going to just discuss some things that we think could make the season a little more exciting. Some stuff that we see once in a while in regular seasons and what would make a 60-game season even more exciting. So why don't we start off with some teams and players that we think are going to be most willing to trade or are going to be sellers, and some players that we think can really make a difference down the line. So why don't you start us off, Frank? I know that you got some players that you actually got locations for some of these players to go, as opposed to me. I got a bunch of names written down. So why don't you start us off?
Sure. So, I think like we mentioned, in previous episodes, with Lindor, obviously being a big trade target or a piece. So I got Lindor getting traded this year, and I actually got him getting traded to the Reds.
Okay.
One of the few positions that the Reds, they have talent there. They got some guys there, but obviously you get a guy like Lindor could be centerpiece of your team for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years.
Definitely.
So I got Lindor going to the Reds. I believe that's a possibility. My next one, I got Whit Merrifield going to the A's.
Mm-hmm.
Just Whit Merrifield just looks like he belongs in the A's.
Mm-hmm.
It's a piece that they can use. They like versatility and utility guys and stuff like that. My next one is another huge name. That's Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's got a good chance of getting traded. But I got him going to the Cardinals.
That'd be great.
And that would just load up that infield.
Yeah.
Molina, Goldschmidt, Wong,
Mm-hmm.
DeJong, Arenado. The defense would be great. They have a lot of outfielder prospects, young guys they could trade away to, make something like that work. Next guy I got is Josh Hader.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got him get traded to the Houston Astros. There's talks about the Astros wanting to go big this year, as they did the last couple of years, but also because they want to try proving to people they could win without the scandal they've been a part of. The next guy I got mentioned here is Ken Giles to the Yankees. We almost seen it last year. I don't think the Blue Jays, they could contend with 60 games, but obviously if they fall out of the race, there's no point in having a reliever. You can go get, 1 or 2 young guys for him. The next one I have is, I think, a pretty shocking one you'll see, and that's Josh Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I have him getting traded to Boston.
Okay.
Because I don't think Boston's really going to tear anything down. And Josh Bell has I think he has 3 years of eligibility left, or team control. So it's someone the Pirates really don't have to try trading, but, if they get the right deal, they could definitely trade him.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially with some of the young guys they have. They have a lot of young guys who play third and short and stuff like that, so they can move some of them guys around, give a first baseman, find something like that. So that's definitely a guy I can see going to Boston because they don't really have a first baseman.
No.
You put him in the middle of the lineup with the monster, Martinez. He has a switch hitter. I mean, someone who could really dominate there. And then, if the universal DH leaves the National League, he's still in the American League, so he can still DH.
Yeah.
I don't think it is, but, just in case. So the next guy I got, Chris Archer, I got him going to the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Just Dodgers always kind of looking for pitchers and people like that and big names or guys who were big names and kind of slowed down. So it'd be a good fit for him.
Mm-hmm.
He can go out of the bullpen maybe or, be a starter, back-end starter.
Yeah.
Sure. And the last guy I wanted to mention was Brad Hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got him going to the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
Even though their bullpen's really good, but they always like having bullpen guys. And it's going to be a huge way to obviously keep them in the hunt with the Yankees and AL. So, I think the Rays are going to make a move, something like that. And they usually kind of make a move where you didn't really see it coming. So they're one of those teams. So those are some of the real big name guys that I see probably getting traded. And those are some of the teams that maybe they're not like the number one teams they're going to get traded to, but I think they're teams that I think are really going to jump in and trade for them.
Yeah.
So there's some of the crazy trade predictions that I had for the big names. And there's obviously a bunch of smaller name guys who are going to get traded and easily can get traded. But these are some of the big ones that could really make an impact or, ripple effect in the league for this year and the next couple of years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there's certainly players in the league that could be traded that are just gonna, they're gonna be part of a team and they're gonna make an impact, but nothing like who you mentioned, who will make an immediate impact on a team and immediate impact on the league. Lindor to the Reds. I think that Reds team is already good, and you add Lindor. I mean, that infield is going to be tremendous. The offense is going to be tremendous with him. Brad Hand getting traded, that makes sense too. I've got some of these guys down already, so I'd like to just go through a few of them real quick. Lindor and Brad Hand, as you previously talked about, I got them too. Michael Givens to the Orioles. I think he's really the only trade piece that could be used from the Orioles. Maybe another bullpen guy. John Lester and Jose Quintana from the Cubs, 2 starters that I think you could probably see get moved. Kimbrel and Schwarber as well from the Cubs. I know a lot of people like to think that the Cubs are probably going to be buyers or they're going to go for it, and the Cubs certainly do have a good team. But I think that if this is a season where they start to have a little trouble, and the NL Central, the rest of the NL Central gives them trouble, I think you could see them sell these guys. Chris Bryant's another guy that's been in the trade talks for a while. Nolan Arenado, I believe, like you mentioned, he could make an immediate impact on really any team he goes to. Stick with the Rockies, Daniel Murphy, Wade Davis, Charlie Blackmon, and John Gray. Because I know you love John Gray, and he could make an impact on a team. Charlie Blackmon, for sure, can make an impact on any team. Moving on to another team, the Giants, I think could certainly be sellers. Not that they have a lot of huge assets that can be a game changer for teams, but guys like Evan Longoria, Tony Watson, Cueto, Samardzija, I think these guys could add depth to a rotation or to a lineup. I think Longoria could even do good as a DH somewhere. Now another team that's interesting, the Nationals. I think that if it doesn't work out for them, which is entirely possible because they don't really blow me away, I think that they could be sellers, and I think they could trade guys like Starlin Castro, Howie Kendrick. Certainly, I think he's going to have a good season, so I could see him being a big trade piece.
Especially with a DH.
Yeah. I mean, he'd be big. And he's already a utility guy, so really you could DH him, you could put him anywhere. Sean Doolittle. I know he's had his complaints about the season. I still expect him to play, and I think he'll pitch good, and I think he could serve the Nationals, or he could go elsewhere and serve another team. Like you said, Josh Hader. I think that Houston pick is great because Houston could use another arm out there. Lorenzo Cain, also for the Brewers. I think he's still got a lot of value, and if the Brewers start to falter, you could see him get moved. Whit Merrifield for the Royals, obviously he, make a huge impact. He's one of the few guys that they got, like I mentioned earlier with some teams. And Jonathan Villar for the Marlins, I think these are like the big impact guys, and I think Villar, is a little underrated. I think that he could really make a big impact with the team. So those are the guys I got. Obviously, there's tons and tons more. We're just trying to break it down to a team and the big guys on that team. The Red Sox I do have as a seller. I think that the AL East is basically going to be between the Yankees and the Rays again. I think the Red Sox lineup is awesome, and I think that their pitching is, especially without Sale, pretty lackluster and pretty nothing, in my opinion, the starting and the bullpen. I don't know necessarily, though, if they'll be buyers or sellers. I think they might just be that middle team where they just kind of just are, and they compete, and they don't really get rid of anybody, but they don't really get anyone, and they're just kind of hover around 500 or so. There's a lot of teams like that are just hovering. There's also, by the way, a great Bleacher Report article that kind of breaks down each team and if they're buyers or sellers and why, and they just recently put it out, so I'd give that a read if you get the time. I mean, what do you think? Any guys that I called out that you think could really make an impact, or do you have any idea, like a location for some of these guys, or what do you think?
I think all of them really can make an impact. I think Wade Davis we mentioned in the past. A team like maybe the Cardinals, a team like the A's, something like that. We can go to Murphy, anywhere.
Yeah,
he can go anywhere.
Yeah,
make an impact. So there's a lot of guys out there that you mentioned that can get traded, and really change, shift the whole team's season. It's just Villar, I think, is a big one because he could play multiple positions and he has speed and switch hitter.
Yeah.
There's so many guys obviously that get a trade block.
Mm-hmm.
Howie Kendrick I think could be huge too. I mean, look what he did in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Starlin Castro, you put him in the right lineup. You could do it with the Yankees.
Yeah.
And when the Cubs got a little bit better.
Mm.
Those guys for the Cubs, Quintana. You know, maybe someone or Leicester goes to like the Phillies, you know, or a young team. Maybe they get, you know, Leicester to the White Sox.
Yeah, that'd be big.
Something like that, where a younger team and an older pitcher. You know, obviously the bullpen guys can make a big impact too.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a couple other guys you can even mention. Maybe Keanu Kella, Pirates. He had a good year. Maybe someone out there with the Rangers, Jose Leclerc.
Yep.
Another reliever who can, you know, if they don't do great, they can move him. Mike Minor. So there's a lot of guys, but I mean, these are the most of the guys here are, you know, the bigger name guys.
Yeah.
Who you can really see, you know, they're going to be big headlines if they get traded.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of why we stuck to them. Otherwise, we can have a whole 3 hours here talking about all the guys who can get traded and what teams they can go to. But, you know, for the most part, these are the guys, you know, and you mentioned Michael Givens. I could see him with the Dodgers.
Yeah, me too.
That just makes sense.
Yeah.
For him to do the Dodgers. But, yeah, so like I said, these are a lot of the big name guys who you could see on the move. You know, another one that I think I missed here on my list, I wanted to mention real quick when we were still in the trades, and that's Kirby Yates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think he can easily get traded because his contract's up after this year. And the Padres are good, but if they're not contending, there's no point in keeping him. You know, you could trade him away and even possibly sign him back next year.
Yeah.
And I think he can go to the White Sox because they're still kind of looking for bullpen guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he could put him out there with Alex Colomé and really have a great bullpen.
Yeah.
Aaron Bummer
Mm-hmm.
and some other younger guys. But you get Kirby Yates and Alex Colomé. There's your 8-9 guys, or even 7-8-9 guys, because those two guys can combine get you 3 innings.
Yeah, they could stretch it out.
And there you go. You know, it's a team that already got a lot better with a lot of young talent, and you add this guy in there for this year, and maybe even sign him next year for a couple of years. I mean, he could obviously make a big impact for the White Sox. You know, chase and push into a deeper playoff run.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's going to be weird for a lot of teams, especially with 60 games. You could see guys pulling the trigger real quick. Maybe even you could argue that there are probably going to be some teams that pull the trigger too easily. But it's going to be interesting with contract guys because, you know, if it ain't happening, you got to get some values for some of these contract guys, you know. So it's going to be really interesting. But I think that a lot of these guys you'll at least hear rumors about. A lot of these guys you have heard rumors about. You know, Arenado, a lot of rumors about him. Chris Bryant, a lot of rumors about him. Lindor and Brad Hand, obviously, we've gone over that quite a few episodes now. So we'll see. I mean, you know, you never know how the season's going to shake out. And with 60 games, the whole league could change in a matter of 10 games. You know, a sixth of the games played could decide everything.
Yeah, decide a whole team's fate for the next 5 years.
Exactly.
Like the Rockies, if they get off to a bad start, you know, they tear down and they get rid of 6-7 guys, you know, they might be bad for a couple of years. If they stay around and, you know, you never know what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You may even see a team like the Rockies trade for some pitchers, you know, because they already got the offense.
Sure.
You know.
Got like Mike Minor. You know, you might have to give up a bunch, but you can get, you know, some pretty good value out of it, or Archer. So you're probably not going to give up a bunch for, but, you know, you have potential to get, you know, high reward.
Yeah.
Reliever, you know. Maybe they go all out and get Josh Hader if they're in the hunt.
Yeah. Imagine that offense.
Ken Giles.
Can you imagine that offense with that bullpen, too? I mean, man.
Yeah. Wade Davis could turn around this year. So there's a lot of pieces. Colorado's a real interesting team because they got a lot of pieces, and they all were bad last year.
Yeah.
For the most part. Offensively, not so much. But pitching and even defensively, they were just not good.
Yeah.
So if they all just, you know, get back to being even more normal, back at their baseball cards, they're going to be pretty good, especially 60 games. Last year, 60 games, I think they were about 500. I think they were 500.
And 30 ain't probably going to cut it this year, you know?
No, but you're in the hunt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Probably 5 games, you know, within 4 or 5 games of a wild card.
Sure. Yeah.
If not in a wild card spot. So you never know.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously trades are an ongoing topic that could change. Listen, the season starts in 10 days from when we're recording this. And in 20 days, our trade predictions could be out the window. You never know.
Or I could get them all right.
Or they could be 100%. You never know. So why don't we move on to, we got some what we're calling special moments, some crazy predictions, and a little bit maybe outlandish predictions. But we've got some no-hitters, cycles, 4 home runs, stuff like that. Some things that are really, especially 4 home runs, really special in a season. But you usually do typically see a no-hitter or a cycle at least once, twice, maybe 3 times a year. So why don't you start us off with, I know you got some guys you think could throw a no-hitter and some teams too.
Yeah. So to start off, I think especially with 60-game season and the way the league's going, I think we're going to see another combined no-hitter this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Twins, team that doesn't have a real dominant starting pitcher, maybe a guy gives them 6-7 innings. Maybe Rich Hill gives them 5 innings, and that blister comes up or something crazy.
Yeah.
And then they use some of their okay bullpen guys, and they just make it work. So I think the Twins maybe throw a combined no-hitter this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think this is a big one. I think the Padres get their first no-hitter
Mm-hmm.
in franchise history. And it's not Chris Paddock who throws it. It's Joey Lucchesi,
Okay.
lefty. A little bit crazy delivery. But he's got some nasty stuff. I seen him pitch last year, one game against the Dodgers. I think he went like 7 shutout innings, or 7 innings, 1 run against Kershaw and the Dodgers. Kershaw's on the mound.
Okay.
And I think Kershaw went 6 innings, no runs or something. So it was a duel.
Yeah.
And he's got some crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I think they're due, obviously, and I think he could do it. Or even Dimmelson Lamet out there.
Yeah.
He throws hard too. But
Mhm.
I think Joey Lucchesi does it this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one, this is shot in the dark. Crazy one. Big crazy one.
Mm-hmm.
I got Michael Wacha throws no-hitter for the Mets.
Okay.
And I got him throwing it against the Blue Jays.
Oh, okay.
A team that might strike out a bunch, young guys, and, wherever. They might not be playing in Toronto, maybe in Buffalo. So they might have all these crazy things going on. Maybe trading people. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Michael Wacha, he's the opposite of the normal Met thing when they sign somebody who has got some potential and they usually just keep going worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna be the opposite. I think he's gonna turn over and he's gonna really get its potential back like he had at the Cardinals. When he was at the Cardinals, he was looking like he was gonna be an ace.
Yeah.
Top 5 pitcher in the league, the whole league.
Yeah.
Some injuries and stuff like that, but he still had good good showings, consistency at times. It was just injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe this year he has a pretty good year, and he could turn around and throw something special.
I think it's possible.
He's got some nasty stuff.
Yeah, he does.
He throws pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe that's something to see. And then, offensively, cycles. I got 2 guys I wanted to mention. I think Brian Reynolds could hit one this year. A
Mm-hmm.
little bit of power, a little bit of speed. Just a really good hitter.
Yeah.
Just makes contact. So, that's one guy. Probably a more underrated guy or underdog guy to do it. And then my next guy probably makes a little bit more sense to people, and that's Jan Moncada.
Mm-hmm.
Guy, obviously, switch hitter and a great team. And I think he can, I think we're going to see him hit a cycle this year. That's, those are my 2 predictions for cycles. 4 home run games, and, you don't really see what you get, like 18 of them, 16 of them,
Yeah, they're
something like that.
Yeah, they're real rare.
But I think a guy who could do it, Arenado.
Mm-hmm.
Just because offensively he's dominant. Puts the ball in play. 280, 290 hitter, RBI, stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
he's hit 2 home runs in 3 home run games. He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And especially playing at Colorado, they always like to use that. He can easily hit 4 home runs. Especially,
Oh yeah.
Imagine it's 4 home runs 3 days before the deadline.
Yeah.
Or he gets traded to the Cardinals and then hits 4 home runs, because I could see that makes more sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
Cardinals were like, oh, should I go for the trade? They traded a lot away from it. Boom, 4 home runs first game. Yeah, he's all right. We'll figure it out. So, my last little couple of predictions here I got. I think there's going to be 2 playing games
Okay.
to get to the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
So either 2 in the American, both in the American League, 1 in the National League, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's going to be 2. So it's going to be a playing game just to get to essentially the play-in wild card game.
Mm-hmm.
So with 60 games, there's going to be a lot of teams right there.
Yeah.
1 game apart, tie, whatever. So I think it's going to be close there. And then the idea of a possible 400 batting average.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, there's a few guys out there who could easily do it, I think. Or, have a hot streak and be right there. Some of the guys you might not think of, maybe some underrated guys or underdog guys. Maybe at this point, I think Joey Votto,
Mm-hmm.
because he had a bad year last year, tough year last year.
Yeah.
Bounces back big time this year with a great offense now. Just comes out and just lights it up.
I could see it.
He'd have like a 5-something on base too. If
Mm-hmm.
he got a 400, he'd have like a 600 on base. That's where he's at.
Yeah.
Obviously, some top guys like LeMahieu, maybe a guy like Altuve,
Mm-hmm.
kind
Yeah.
of, just being angry at all the things they said off season and just coming out and time to really rest his knee. He had a problem with. Howie Kendrick, of course, because he's the best player in baseball. Maybe the real best player in baseball. Maybe Mike Trout does it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that would be crazy?
I would love that.
But yeah, there's a couple underrated guys like Joey Votto, Howie Kendrick, guys like that who can, maybe do it. Maybe Daniel Murphy. I mean, look what he did
Yeah.
with the Mets in 30 games in the playoffs there, 20 games in the playoffs.
That's true.
Down a stretch of regular season and then into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
He was unbelievable. You could do it. And he's a great hitter. So there's a lot of guys out there, underrated ones you don't think of who could maybe hit 400, 390, at least, make it interesting.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't seen that in a while either. I don't think the last guy that really you could say really came close was Tony Gwynn in that 94 season. There was obviously guys that hit well, but
Oh, yeah, 360, 370. Todd Helton, Walker, they were 370, 380s.
Yeah.
Chipper Jones one year, I think he was like 410 through 60 games or so. And all the way almost to the All-Star break, he was almost batting. He batted right around 400.
Yeah.
So those guys, George Brett, all those guys, there's been some, a few. Rod Carew.
Oh,
He had
yeah.
like a 450 or something one year through like May or something crazy. It was ridiculous. But there's obviously a bunch of guys out there. Bellinger, we've seen almost hit 400 for a while there last year, and Yelich.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to go throw a couple names out there that you might not think of as first come to mind. Like I said, Votto and Howie Kendrick, and some of the guys like that. Maybe Murphy.
Yeah.
So those are my picks. Or maybe could do it as underrated. Underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, yeah. I mean, those are all good picks. I think we have an agreement. Both of the guys we're going to mention here are candidates. As far as no hitter, I think that I don't think you can really even sometimes predict who can throw a no hitter because sometimes guys are just on for the day. Look at Philip Humber throw a perfect game. So
Andres Galarraga.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he threw one, but the record books won't show that. But I think that someone that I really like, and I think realistically will probably throw a no hitter in his life, in his career, is Walker Buehler. I think he's a great pitcher, and I think that he's just going to get better. And I think that you could see him throwing a no hitter, maybe even a perfect game. I think he's a pretty obvious choice. I think a lot of people would have him on the list of top guys to maybe do that. As far as a team no hitter, a combined no hitter, I think the Indians could do it because the Indians got a lot of guys in their rotation that I wouldn't say are necessarily dominant, but they have a good day, like Mike Clevenger and Shane Bieber and these guys. If they're on, I mean, say they get pulled after 7 innings, maybe they got like 100 pitches or something, and they get pulled, and the bullpen comes in and finishes it up. Brad Hand finishes it out. I mean, I could see a combined no hitter from them. There's a lot of teams though, like you said, that could do it. As for the cycle, maybe some obvious guys here. One of them's painfully obvious, but Yelich. I mean, the dude can just hit, so there's no question in anyone's mind that he could hit a home run. He could hit a triple. Obviously he's double and a single. So I think that he's got the speed and power to do it. Another guy that I think could do it is Charlie Blackmon, especially with that big park, out in Colorado. I think that he could hit something in the gap and get a triple, and obviously the ball flies out of there, he could get a home run. So Charlie Blackmon, I think, could certainly do it. 4 home runs. That's another one that's hard. I mean, Scooter Gennett did it, so it's like, that's another one that might be hard to predict.
Mike Cameron.
Yeah, so
Sean Green.
Yeah, so it could be someone like that who you're just like, okay, I guess he did it. Josh Hamilton did it, but he made sense.
Had my fantasy team that day.
Yeah, I know.
Easy.
But the 2 guys that I got, and I know you're going to love one of them, but the first guy I got is JD Martinez, because dude just mashes. I'm pretty sure he had a 3 home run game with Arizona.
He's only got to hit it 110 feet,
Oh, yeah,
Monster.
well, yeah, that's another thing. The ballpark helps him. He could, if he goes oppo, he could hit it about 200 feet, and it'll be a home run.
Pulls it same way.
Yeah.
As long as he gets a pop-up, you got a shot there. So.
But no, JD Martinez has some stupid pop, and he's a great hitter, and I think he could realistically do it. I could totally see it. And your boy, Matt Olson.
Oh, yeah, he could do it, yeah.
I could see him doing it, especially say he plays a team like who could he play out there? Because it's all division. Probably maybe like the Angels or something. He's kind of got that like short wall over that he could pull the ball.
Giants, even though that's not a great hitter's ballpark, but they're just not good.
Yeah. Hit it in McCovey Cove.
4 of them.
Yeah, 4 of them in McCovey Cove.
He's got some unbelievable power, that man. Holy jeez.
Yeah, so he's someone I could definitely say. I could see him for sure hitting a 3 home run game, maybe a 4 home run game if he's if the moon is right.
In Oakland.
Yeah.
Those fans that aren't even going to be there will still be going wild.
Yeah, you'll hear them from their houses.
Yeah.
They'll be exploding.
Yeah, stadium will fall down. Sewage everywhere.
Yeah.
Welcome to Oakland.
As far as a playing game, I think there will almost certainly be 1. 2 is, I think, entirely realistic. I think that 1 or 2 is probably your best, safest bet. I can't imagine there wouldn't be any. I mean,
162 games. How many times have we got right to the last game or so when there's a chance at it?
Yeah.
And that's, give me the odds there.
Yeah.
This is 60 games. So
yeah.
What do they say, 37% of the season?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to at least raise it up, 37% chance. So.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so I think there's going to be at least 1. Like I said, 2, maybe 3. It'd be crazy. And then, 400 hitters, I think you nailed all the guys that I think LeMahieu's probably got the best shot. I mean, that dude, I mean, he just doesn't stop hitting. Trout, I think, would be great for the game if your ambassador did it. Howie Kendrick. I've seen actually some people theorizing that Howie Kendrick could do it, or predicting, I should say.
He's unbelievable.
So Howie Kendrick could do it. DJ LeMahieu. Your big guys, Yelich, like you said, Bellinger, Arenado. I could see doing it. He's not a huge, high average guy, but he's a great hitter. So what the hell? Hell, someone like Brian Reynolds out there, Pirates. They got 3 of the same players. Adam Frazier, why not?
Yeah, they got the same guys. Yeah.
So I could see maybe a sneaky guy like that doing it. But you never know. 60 games. I mean, you said Altuve too. He's a great hitter. Bregman, why not? Those guys can really hit. And if in 60 games, if they're right, maybe it could be someone in a division where there's not as good pitching. Because that could benefit too if they're playing their division. Maybe Whit Merrifield. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of guys that you can think about with batting 400, but I think for me, LeMahieu's probably like the guy to watch because I mean, he's unbelievable.
Jose Ramirez is one. If he comes out of the gate, you don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah,
he's either come out of the gates and go 1 for 50 like he does usually every year, and it's 7 degrees out, or he's gonna come out like he does in the halfway through the season and he's hitting unbelievable. He's hitting a home run every single day, stealing a base.
Yeah,
he ends up with a base hit, a home run, and a stolen base like every single day. So he's a guy, might be able to do it there. And like we mentioned before, Joey Votto, those guys who just they have a great eye and they put contact. Can't strike out 400 times and expect to bat 400.
Yeah,
the odds are just not going to happen. Look at the guys who had close to it: Tony Gwynn, Rod Carew, almost the same type of hitter. Just slap the ball there. Wade Boggs, guys like that. George Brett,
They can hit the ball anywhere.
Yeah, that's the LeMahieu, the Altuve, the guys who don't strike out all that much. Votto, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's some other guys you could throw in there, or just Goldschmidt maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
why not?
It only takes, you get a 20-game stretch, which isn't out of the question, where a player gets a 20-game stretch, one unbelievable month when they bat 460 for a month or something. All of a sudden you get, bat 260 the next month, you're still, 300 the next month, you're still sitting, you got a shot,
Yeah.
As long as you just have one real great month and a couple, another one that's real good and another one that's just pretty good, you're going to be right there.
Yeah, sure. So. Yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean, it's going to be, like we've been saying for the past few weeks, it's going to be interesting. And you never know who's going to get hot at the right time. And that's not even to mention guys we think that could have like a real low ERA or high strikeout rate or stuff like that. I mean, if a guy gets hot, because guys have just straight up hot months, and a hot month this year is half the year. So like you said, someone bats 400, and the other month they bat 300. They did pretty good. They're gonna
end up right there, 360, 370, 380. Who knows?
And starting in the warm weather, a lot of guys are warm weather hitters, and without the dog days of summer bearing down on you, where you've already played 100 games, they're gonna be fresh and.
Again, you're in the pennant race, so you're gonna have that momentum. You're gonna have that, that want to play. Early in the season, it's cold. You're kind of loosening up, and these games, aren't gonna kill you unless you lose a bunch in a row. Now it's like, well, you lose one game, you might be done.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of play. So your heart's gonna be playoff mode. A lot of these teams, and there's a good chance you're not gonna get up 7 games on these people or these other teams until maybe right at the end.
Yeah.
So you gotta play all the way through.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's going to be no, late September, here's your AAA team playing just about. There's probably going to be none of that unless someone goes 51-9 or something.
Yeah. Or clinches the division with a month left.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of, we're just finishing the season. You're in the independent race.
Yeah.
You're in playoff mode. So it should be exciting to see,
Yeah.
ERA guys who can go real low. Couldn't even tell you, I would pick Chris Sale because I love Chris Sale. But.
Yeah.
Obviously you can go with some, big name guys, but yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna be a crazy year. But these are just some, crazy predictions. Trades are not so much crazy, but obviously the other side, the special moments, obviously you can't really predict them. But
yeah,
like to shoot them out there and give it a shot and see what you get, and maybe you get one right,
Yeah.
And you start bragging to Mike because he doesn't know nothing, and that's it,
And that's that. What's nice about these two is they could happen in any season, so it's not like it's like outlandish to really name any of these guys for any season, whether it's a 60-game season or a 162 or 2 games. Yeah,
it's just fun to think about. That's all. And like I said, you get it right, that's crazy. And me and Mike, I know I've been doing it for a long time. Full season predictions every year. I guess the whole record of the whole team,
Yep.
And odds are I ain't gonna get it right, but if you get it right, you're like, yeah, Now 1 year, no one had the White Sox being good.
Yep.
I had them good. They were in the playoff hunt the whole year till the last game, and they lost, and they're out.
Yeah.
No one had them. I had them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just fun to do. So it's fun to throw these out there, and if you get it right, you go brag to somebody about it.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. All right. Well, that's all I got for special moments and some trades and stuff. Is there any team, player, any special thing you think could happen, or anything final you want to talk about?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, the only thing you got to look out for, a lot of guys dropping out. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of guys, but there's a few guys, more popular name guys dropping out. Like we said, Markakis, Ryan Zimmerman, Jordan Hicks, goes 105, 104. He's more health issues than some other reasons. But there's some big name guys or bigger name guys kind of dropping out.
Posey.
Posey. You got to be careful. See what happens there. Give some of the younger guys a chance maybe. And also see what MLB does. Maybe a month after the season starts, these guys decide they want to play. Is there a rule they can come back and play as long as they get tested and stuff like that? So that's interesting to see too.
Yeah.
And that could throw a big change into somebody's trades and their careers. The Giants, Posey doesn't play this year. Well, the Giants get a young catcher. He does good. Posey, obviously older, beat up, plays first base now. Really doesn't hit power. He's really not much of an offensive player much anymore. Well, what's the point of having him?
Yeah, unless the DH sticks around.
Yeah, you get the young guy. Yeah, he's not even going to hit home runs to be a DH.
Yeah, that's
Joe
true.
Mauer, 2.0.
Yeah.
Really worse because Joe Mauer at least still kind of hit 300 all the time. Posey doesn't really do that anymore. He's 260 hitter.
Yeah.
With a bad offensive park. So it's like, somebody's career is Markakis. What happens to him?
Yeah.
His career is over now.
It's a shame, yeah. So
that throws a big wrench into some of these teams and what their trades are going to be like too.
Yeah.
And then what team doesn't get sick? If it goes around, that's a big part too.
Yeah.
The whole team gets sick.
Yeah. Then what?
If you're the Cubs, you got 5 guys get sick. Rizzo, Bryant, Schwarber, Hayward, and a pitcher. Whoa.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
You just lose for a whole week.
I don't even know. It just is what it is, I guess, at that point.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, like we mentioned too, with stat categories, what qualifies you? If you miss like 3 games, are you out?
Yeah.
So, or you play 30 games and you win the batting title.
Yeah. You only play half the games, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't really know. There's a lot of crazy stuff we're going to find out about. A couple of free agents still out there that get signed, Puig and guys like that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a big mess. And once the season gets started, it's going to be like, you don't know where to look. There's just going to be things flying at you from everywhere. News and trades and releasing and guys hurt and sick and whatever else is happening.
Yeah.
And someone can get fired. If you're like Dusty Baker in the first week of the season, you're like 1-6. You're like, yeah, no, see you later.
Yeah. Already.
Yeah. So you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You get the Mets up for sale. So many things going on in baseball. Once the season starts, everything's just gonna be thrown at the wall.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. Everything at once. There's gonna be no separation.
Yeah.
We have like opening day and you kind of flow into the season. It's just gonna be like opening day. It's over.
Yeah.
Trades, releasing, fired.
Yeah. Day one, there's gonna be that stuff, which is insane.
So we're not even there yet. They're already talking about trading people and releasing people and
yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, I don't know if you got anything else.
No, I think that's about all I got. I mean, you pretty much covered it right there at that little ending you got there. Yeah. But I know that you got a trivia question for us.
Of course. So
it's the only reason that anyone listens to this show. Sure. It's a trivia question.
Yeah, it's a trivia question. So it's the best part. So this week's trivia question, as you can see on Twitter and Facebook, and we answer every week. Who was the last pitcher to hit a home run in a World Series game? And I think that's kind of fitting for the year because there's no DH.
Yeah.
Or a universal DH, no pitchers hitting. So it's kind of fitting, I thought, for the year. And I just thought the answer was, I kind of remember him doing it, but I just thought the answer was like, yeah, it's just crazy. And it was on October 26, 2008, and it was Joe Bland for the Philadelphia Phillies against the Tampa Bay Rays. The pitcher, I don't know. Can't go. I don't have that information. But Joe Bland.
Whoever it was, he couldn't have felt great about it.
No,
He's
no.
giving up a home
It's
run to Joe
probably
Blanton.
it's probably like James Shields or something.
Yeah,
Because he gave a home run to Bartolo, so why not?
yeah,
Or
why
David
not?
Price, because he gives up every big home run or every big hit ever.
Yeah.
So probably something like that.
Yeah.
Or Jose Valverde, I don't know. You know, Farnsworth is probably a good guess.
Yeah. That probably is realistic.
Yeah. So, but Joe Bland hit the last home run as a pitcher in the World Series.
Yuck.
So, go figure. And some of the names who've done it, you know,
Yeah.
they make sense. And then you could, you know, Joe Bland.
Well, you would think it was a starter. Your immediate thought would be like, oh, 08 Phillies must have been Roy Halladay or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one of those big guys.
Yeah.
And you hear Joe Blanton, it's like, how
He
did
was
he
like-
even get up?
Starter, reliever, you know, mix.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, and were you winning?
Yeah.
Were you winning big to lead, or were you losing big? And you know, it's like what?
Yeah. What transpired?
Yeah. And then you're Charlie Manuel, and you just hit the home run.
Mm.
You got to be talking, you know, everybody. Yeah. No, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
That's why I'm the manager. You know.
Yeah, I
Push
just
all the
felt
right-
it.
Yeah, I push all the right buttons. That's what I do. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, he don't know. 79 years old, wherever he was out there. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Looking older than time.
Yeah,
He's still-
yeah, yeah. So, yep. Trivia question: last pitcher hit a home run in the World Series, and it's Joe Bland. So go figure.
Unbelievable. Well, we won't have a moment like that this year, but, you know,
Well, you never know.
that's true.
You pinch hit somebody and lose your DH. Who knows?
Or you pinch hit your pitcher. You get into extras. So you got a guy on second for some reason you can't score him.
Yeah, who knows? who knows what can happen this
Yeah.
year? I don't know.
Well, I think that wraps it up nice. That's all I got for this episode. Any final notes, comments, concerns?
No, I mean, next week's baseball.
Yeah, we're 10 days out from when we're recording. So we'll be a week out when we put up this episode.
Yeah, yeah. So next week's baseball, Yankees Nationals at Nationals is the first game.
What a way to start it.
And then I believe it's Giants at Dodgers, or is it Dodgers at Giants?
I'm not 100%.
It should be
but
at Dodgers.
I was going to say Dodgers makes
It
sense.
would make more sense. But so there's your first two games, national televised on July 23rd. So, you know, looking forward to that, obviously. And then I think the rest of the teams are playing the next day.
I believe so.
And, you know, just about playing every other day.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there ain't many off days ever in baseball, let alone a season that's shortened. I think it's like 60 games in 65 days.
Something like that, yeah.
So we'll see, you know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode. One last note before we go. You can follow and listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can also catch the episode on our website, screwball.podbean.com, as well as a regularly updated YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at FDubs10.
You can follow us on Twitter, our official Screwball Twitter, at ScrewballPod. And you can follow us on Facebook at ScrewballPod, no E and Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep, take care.